ਕੈਲਗਰੀ ਨਾਰਥ ਈਸਟ ਦੇ ਇਲਾਕੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕੋ ਵੀਕਐਂਡ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ 2 ਗੋਲੀਬਾਰੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਹੋਣ ਦੀ ਖਬਰ ਹੈ। ਕੈਲਗਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਐਕਸਟੋਰਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧਿਤ 2 ਸ਼ੂਟਿੰਗ ਦੀ ਇਨਵੈਸਟੀਗੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਪਹਿਲੀ ਘਟਨਾ 2:45 ਤੇ ਐਤਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਸੈਡਲ ਰਿਜ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਨਾਰਥ ਈਸਟ ਦੇ 8400 ਬਲਾਕ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ। ਇੱਕ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕਈ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਚਲਾਈਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ। ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾਤਰ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਇਸ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਗਰਾਜ ਡੋਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਲੱਗੀਆਂ। ਗੋਲੀ ਚਲਾਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ 2 ਸ਼ੂਟਰ ਇੱਕ ਚਿੱਟੇ ਰੰਗ ਦੀ ਸੈਡਾਨ ਗੱਡੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਫਰਾਰ ਹੋ ਗਏ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਅਗਲੀ ਰਾਤ 12:10 ਤੇ ਸੋਮਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਅਨਨੋਨ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ 300 ਬਲਾਕ ਸਵਾਨਾ ਪਾਰਕ ਨਾਰਥ ਈਸਟ ਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਮੀਂਹ ਵਰਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਇਹ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਪਾਸਿਓਂ ਚਲਾਈਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ। ਕੈਲਗਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦਾ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ 28 ਐਕਸਟੋਰਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਇਨਵੈਸਟੀਗੇਟ ਦੇ ਅੰਡਰ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ 13 ਸ਼ੂਟਿੰਗ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਨੇ। ਜਿਹੜੀ ਘਟਨਾ ਸਵਾਨਾ ਪਾਰਕ ਨਾਰਥ ਈਸਟ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਹੋਈ, ਉਸ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਦੱਸਣ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ 12 ਫਰਵਰੀ ਅਤੇ 16 ਫਰਵਰੀ ਨੂੰ ਕੈਲਗਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਐਕਸਟੋਰਸ਼ਨ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਾਲਾਂ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਇਹ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਟਰੱਕਿੰਗ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧਿਤ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ $5 ਲੱਖ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ। ਇਸ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਾਕੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਡਰ ਦਾ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਹੈ। ਜਦੋਂ ਰੈੱਡ FM ਦੀ ਟੀਮ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਪਹੁੰਚੀ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਕੰਧ ਦੇ ਆਰ-ਪਾਰ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਚੁੱਕੀਆਂ ਸਨ। ਲਿਵਿੰਗ ਰੂਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਏ ਸੋਫਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੀ ਗੋਲੀ ਲੰਘ ਕੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਫਰੰਟ ਡੋਰ ਤੱਕ ਜਾ ਪਹੁੰਚੀ। ਇੱਕ ਗੋਲੀ ਕਿਚਨ ਕੈਬਨਿਟ ਤੋਂ ਪਾਰ ਲੰਘ ਗਈ। ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਜਿਸ ਬੈਡਰੂਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁੱਤੇ ਪਏ ਸਨ, ਉਸ ਦੀ ਵਿੰਡੋ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਗੋਲੀ ਲੰਘ ਕੇ ਕਲੋਜ਼ਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਲੱਗੀ। ਕੈਲਗਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਾਂਚ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੇਰਵਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਉਡੀਕ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੈਲਗਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਡੈਪਟੀ ਚੀਫ ਆਸਿਫ ਰਸ਼ੀਦ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦਿਆਂ ਕਈ ਹੋਰ ਵੇਰਵੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਕੀਤੇ।
It's believed that both of these cases have similarities to the other extortion events that we're investigating at this time. It's conceivable they're linked to the extortion series.
And these two are linked?
We can't confirm if these two are particularly linked. As I said, in one of the cases, the offenders fled in a vehicle. In another case, they fled on foot. But the MO shooting rounds or firearm into the residence is consistent in both cases.
We spoke to one of the victims, this morning shooting. They said they complained to the police on 12th of February. Then they complained again on 16th of February. And they were concerned that no detective were assigned. So is there any timeline how much time CPS takes to assign a detective or talk to the victims like properly? When does everything starts rolling like fast?
That's a great question. So I am aware that in this particular case that the complainant has made several reports to police of the extortion series before. We are aware of that. And we've engaged in a robust safety planning process with that complainant and their family. As a matter of fact, we have a robust suppression and disruption plan, which we are running every evening and every night in the affected communities. And it's unfortunate that this situation happened despite the suppression plan being in place. To answer your other question, the 2 complaints of the extortions that were made to police, they have been received by the Calgary Police Service and are being investigated as such. However, in the case of an extortion event where there is a shooting, as in the case of these 2, we work with our joint forces operation, the Alert Alberta Law Enforcement Response Team. And so while those 2 initial cases are being investigated by the CPS, that is part of the series being investigated by the joint forces operation, that is Alert. The intake, triage, and investigation happens immediately after the complainant reports those matters to police.
You said that there is, in fact, a suppression plan in place. How long has it been in place, and can you reveal exactly what can people keep an eye out for, or how can they help police with these cases?
That's a great question, sir. And so without elaborating on the technical details of the suppression plan for obvious reasons, I can say that we have a dedicated analytical unit that's looking at all of these cases from a temporal analysis. They're advising us and prescribing what a suppression plan would look like as far as where in the city do we redeploy our resources, at what times of the day, and what types of resources should be deployed in the city. And so to answer your question, it would be not uncommon for people living in the affected communities to see an increased police presence during the times of days that the communities are most vulnerable. So community members might see increased traffic stops. They might even see our Calgary Police Service traffic units doing a check stop, for example, and just directed patrols, part of the safety planning process in and around the residences where people have complained of extortion.
Just a follow-up, can I assume that these are visible presence as well as potential undercover presence as well?
Predominantly overt, high-profile presence in those communities, yes.
This is all under the assumption, too, that they're going to be returning to the scene to create or to make another act, as in firing?
Yes, that is a great inference to make, because in many cases we found that there's a time lapse between the time when a complainant or victim receives the extortion complaint to when and if there's an act of violence.
Was anyone in the homes at the time of these shootings?
It's early in the investigation to confirm if those residences were occupied at the time, but of course we take it very seriously when firearms are being shot into a residence that could conceivably be occupied at the nighttime hours.
And is there any update on how joint operations between Calgary Police and other jurisdictions outside of Alberta have been going?
Yes, so I actually do have an update on that. As you would be aware, a couple of weeks ago, leaders from the Calgary Police Service attended a meeting in Surrey, BC, to talk about what a regional or a national response to the extortion series might look like. I too attended an organized crime committee meeting to the Calgary Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police a couple of weeks ago, and a dedicated working group has been stood up to look at the extortion series. Part of being part of those joint forces operations and information sharing tables is that it gives us access to resources, policy advocacy, and intelligence sharing that helps us look at these crimes not only locally, but regionally and nationally as well.
And lastly for me, are there any planned future meetings with the community members about the extortion-related incidents?
That's a great question as well. So we know the community is eager to meet with the police and receive these updates on a timely basis. I have been in touch with my colleagues at Alert to find out when it's possible that we could have another community engagement session or another town hall as and when needed. Sorry.
How many extortion cases are you guys working on?
Yeah, so the updated numbers as of today is we're investigating 28 extortion-related occurrences in Calgary, of which 13 of them have manifested themselves in shooting incidents.
When the victims are extorted, confronted, whatever, what are they being asked to produce? Is it cash? Is it jewelry? Is it gold? What?
The requests predominantly have been for cash, and large sums of cash in many cases. Sums of cash that people conceivably would not have access to.
In this morning's Savannah Park incident, there's a footage on social media that's circulating where a certain gang has accepted responsibility for it. Is that footage, can you confirm that footage is related to the shooting?
So we are aware of that footage. I have seen the footage. Our investigators at a preliminary analysis believe that there might be some nexus from that video to the shooting that happened in Savannah this morning. However, until we do a forensic examination and we chase down some of the evidence that's associated with the video, we can't conclusively say that at this time.
And the complainant in this case, you said that there have been 2 reports. They have complained twice to Calgary Police before. What evidence did they give to you that you concluded it's an extortion case? Was there an extortion notice, a letter, or a phone call?
Yeah, so for the elements of an offense to be made in an extortion incident, an individual only need receive a threat of violence with a request for cash or other commodities. And so we can confirm that in the first 2 events, an extortion criminal offense was in fact committed.
Why these people? Like, why not just start in Bowness and work your way this way? Why is it always this? Seems to be this way.
We keep asking ourselves a question around victim typology, and we've seen similar trends across the country, from the Lower Mainland to Edmonton, Calgary, and even in Ontario. What we're finding, for reasons that are still a little bit ambiguous, is that the offenders in many of these cases seem to be from the South Asian community. They speak in South Asian languages when they make the extortion events to the complainants, to the victims, and those victims, too, are often from those same communities. What we have been able to deduce is that the victims in many of these cases are affluential, influential, business-type people in the community. And so perhaps that's one reason or one cause that they're being targeted. But again, it's early to define that with any certainty.
So when CPS makes arrest, like last week there was an arrest related to extortion, Surrey Police and police in Peel region, they publish a picture of the one who is charged. Will Calgary Police be doing the same to discourage people and posting their pictures?
Yes, absolutely we will. I am aware loosely about the arrest that was made last week. However, there is no connection with that arrest to the extortion series that we're investigating at this time, which is why there wasn't a lot more public awareness created around that one particular file.
It seems, I want to say, relatively new to our city. Usually when we're doing things like this, it's like a gang shooting, not really extortion. Can you tell us how long it's been going on in the city?
Yeah, so obviously there's some organized criminal activity or modus operandi behind what is happening here. It's my experience that these trends actually began in Calgary in the spring of 2025. However, other jurisdictions, notably the Lower Mainland and Edmonton, have seen similar offences as early as far back as 2023.
Are the extortion threats all coming from the same group, the same organized?
That's indeterminate at this point. They're using a number of different modalities to contact the victims and complainants. It's hard to say if they're actually coming from the same group or same location even in many cases.
Is it possible this was happening before 25 and no one was mentioning it?
That is possible. I mean, underreporting is always a concern for us, which is why we understand in many cases that there is a certain taboo, stigma, even fear of reprisal in reporting these kinds of cases to the police. And so we work closely with Crime Stoppers to ensure that they're able to intake complaints on an anonymized basis and make sure that they're followed up by investigators without disclosing the identity of the complainant.
Are you finding that people are coming forward faster now?
Without a doubt. Yeah, we have dedicated ways in which people can contact the police, Crime Stoppers being one of them. But as you're aware, a couple of the town hall or community engagement events that we've had, both of them have been very useful and successful in eliciting additional reports from members of the community.
Have you been able to thwart any extortion attempts, given the amount of resources, time, people you've thrown at this specific number of incidents?
That's a great question. Prevention is always difficult to measure as an outcome of police work. We'll never know what we were able to prevent, but it's conceivable that through some of the suppression and disruption activities that we've had, we have seen some success in dissuading, I think, would-be criminals from engaging. Please know that this is public safety priority number one for the Calgary Police Service, and so we will dedicate as much resources and as time as is required to identify, dismantle these organized crime groups and to hold the offenders accountable.
As of right now, these are targeted as in the right house got hit. I mean, are you a little afraid? I mean, should we all kind of keep our eyes open? Maybe they get the wrong address.
You know what? We should all be concerned whenever there's gunfire in the streets. As I said, many of these incidents are happening in the evening and overnight hours when many homes are occupied, and so that causes grave concern for the Calgary Police Service, hence the proactive, overt patrols and response that we've seen in the last few weeks. What I would ask of the community is that if you see something that you think is suspect or out of place, please report it to the Calgary Police Service. We have a dedicated email address. It's extortion@calgarypolice.ca. As I said, you can also go into the Crime Stoppers website or the app and actually make a report through Crime Stoppers anonymously. But yes, if there's anything small or suspicious or out of place in your communities, please report to police. There's no call too small.
Anything else?
So just to confirm, these two shootings, were they targeted to South Asian members of Calgary, the South Asian community here in Calgary?
Yes, that's correct.
And then of the 28 extortion crimes, how many of them occurred last year and how many of them occurred this year?
In 2025, we had 17, and in 2026, year to date, 11.